Hey guys, it's Pamela Freelo. So just a couple days ago, I was chatting with someone about finances, and that's something normally people ask me about and ask me why how I travel so much and how I save and how I got a house and all this other stuff. And I've been thinking about making this video, but I was not sure if I wanted to get into my finances because people are pretty sensitive about that subject. And then also I wasn't really sure if I do decide to do this video, I wasn't really sure if I should just give people a list of things to do or tell them how I did stuff, and I just wasn't sure. So I've decided I want to do a video, and basically what I'm going to do the video about is how I was able to save $13,000 in less than a year last year when we were getting ready to get the house. And then also like basically how far I've come from where I was before. And by telling you my journey, hopefully you can learn stuff. I'll list out the things that I did, and hopefully you can learn stuff through there. And if at any chance, if you have any other questions, I'll try to link my Instagram below, so you can feel free to send me a message on there if you have any questions or need any help. So anyways, let's get started on how everything worked out. So the whole thing is just a couple years ago, I have an accounting background, but I wasn't using it as far as my own finances were concerned. So just a couple years ago, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was like, I had enough to live on, but that was about it. I was wondering where all my money was going and everything, and I wasn't sure what was happening. So one day I decided to sit down and get my finances together. So one main thing that I decided to cut back on was rent. And then also I was living in DC at the time, so the good brunches and all this other lifestyle was taking a lot of my money away, as much as rent as well. So one of the decisions I decided to make, which was a big decision, you don't have to make that big of a decision yourself. Just one of the biggest decisions I decided to make was based on how much I was paying in rent. I decided to make a move from Arlington into Austin, Texas, and that in itself saved me about I think over $500 a month just in rent alone. And like I said, that's a big decision. So once you sit down and you figure out, so I guess that's the first step. The first step is sit down, figure out where your money is going, and see where you can cut costs. So you don't have to cut costs by moving or anything, but you can cut costs, be like, okay, I pay rent this much. I can still stay in the same city that I'm staying in, but I can move to a different place and save $200 a month or save this a month. Or if you definitely want to stay where you are, you can see what else you're spending your money on and see what else you can cut costs on. So even for moving to Texas, I was still kind of all over the place with my finances and whatnot. So as things progressed, there was some point where I was like, okay, outside of student loans and stuff, somehow I still owed $6,000 in credit cards and all this other stuff. So one year I decided, okay, my goal this year is to get rid of all my non-student loan loans. So when I decided to do it, I was like, my main goal for that year was to get rid of everything, all my debts. So all my debts outside of student loans, as I calculated them all together, they were all a little over $6,000. So that year, when that year came to an end, not only had I paid off over $6,000, I had $4,000 in my savings. So I was like, wow, that's like $10,000 just for that year, just because I was being serious and I was being cautious of where my money goes. So I think it all comes down to budgeting, figuring out where your costs are, and then after, go ahead and budget your money and everything, and you'll be able to figure stuff out. And then also, so after I decided I was like, okay, if I can end up accidentally paying off all $6,000 and having $4,000 left, that means it's not that I'm not making enough money. It's just because I'm not taking care of my money. And currently I know how much some of my friends are making, and I'm making the same amount that a person out of school with 3 to 4 years of experience should be making. So I'm not making any higher. I'm making just as much as the market is making, but it's just about like saving your money and also being careful about where your money is going. And for the people that follow me, they know I'm not stopping my life. I'm still going out eating. I'm still traveling. I'm still doing all this, but it's just being mindful of what you put your money towards. So this past year, I guess it's been like a year now since that happened. I've been holding off on this video for a while, but we closed on our house in April, I believe, and in anticipation for closing on the house, I was like, okay, after I did the math, I realized the more money we put down, the more we'll end up saving in the future and all that stuff. So that's when the saving $13,000 in less than a year comes in. So that month I decided my goal was to save $10,000, and basically I kept at it and I kept going, and then when it came time to put the down payment down for the house, it had been less than a year and I already had a little over $13,000 in my account, and I was like, oh, that's fantastic. But I guess to try, this is the main stuff that I did, and it was just basically the main thing that you need to do was, like I said, step one is to sit down and figure out where all your money is currently going and be very honest with yourself. So the next thing that happens is you can either choose the route where if you have a lot of credit card debts and a lot of other stuff, you can choose to have a year where you're strict and you first get rid of all your debts. So that would be year one. After you sit down, year one would be to get rid of all your debts. So in that year, don't worry about savings. You can just put like 100 or 200 in your savings a month and focus on using the rest of your money to go ahead and get rid of all your debt. And then year two, or however long it takes you to get rid of all your debt, well, excluding student loans, you can choose to that if that's on you. But so do that, and then year two, or whenever you're done with that, you realize that all the money that you were using to pay your debt, now you have that free money to go ahead and put into your savings. And then one main thing that I did for myself was when I was giving myself spending money in my budget, when I was giving myself spending money for the month, I made sure it was like a realistic amount. Because if you go ahead and give yourself only $100 a month to spend, or only $200 if you're living in DC and only giving yourself $200 to spend on a month, and then you find out that you're going out to eat more often than not or whatever, and you later realize the amount that you gave yourself to spend was not a realistic amount, then you end up dipping into your savings. So I guess the rule is to make sure that you're giving yourself enough money to spend, but then at the same time having enough money for your savings as well. So after you do your budget, just realize what your lifestyle is. So I guess to make it make more sense, for me personally, when I get my money, when I get paid monthly, and then whenever I get paid monthly, I put in $400 for myself to spend for the month, and then that's excluding groceries, because groceries and stuff come out of my joint account with my husband. So I give myself $400 for spending money for myself outside of like gas, and if I'm going out with friends, and if I want to do a little shopping. So I give myself $400 spending money, and then also I put money towards, since I like traveling, I put money towards my traveling expense every month, and then I put money towards the household, which covers all the rent and everything else in life. So after I do all of that, I'm normally left with a little over a little over $1,000 for that month. So then I'm able to put that over $1,000 in my savings a month without having to worry about ever going in there, because I found that $400 a month is more than enough for me to take care of gas and social outings for the month. So that's what I meant by making sure your budget is realistic, because if your budget is truly realistic to your lifestyle, you would definitely not find yourself dipping into your saving. And that's the one thing that you have to, if you're really serious about saving, make sure your budget is realistic enough that you don't end up saving. And then as again with the travel expense, one thing is I don't want you to feel like you're dipping into your, if you're a person that's passionate about traveling, it doesn't have to be traveling, it just has to be whatever you're passionate about. If you have an activity that you're passionate about, you shouldn't have to dip into your savings just to fund that activity. So just be realistic with your budget and go ahead and put and make an account for that activity, and just be like, okay, I'm going to contribute $100 a month towards that. I'm going to contribute $200 a month, $300 a month, or whatever it is. That way you feel like, oh, okay, if I have enough in that account to, like for travel, for example, if I have enough in that account to travel, then I'm more than happy to go wherever I want. But if I don't have enough money in that account to travel, then it's like, okay, then I'm not going to travel until I have $1,000 or until I have enough money in that account to make, to fly or whatever. So anyway, so I guess the main thing is to sit down, figure out where your money is going, and then reallocate your money to somewhere else and be very realistic with it. So like I said, if you guys have any questions or any suggestions, and then I guess the other way I was thinking about making this is to just going by steps of like, oh, these are 6 steps on how to save money or something. So I don't know, I'll think about it and I'll see if I can break it instead of doing it in a story. That might be confusing to some people. So if you have a question, just ask me, or I can think about doing a video with step-by-step stuff that's not really how I did it, but like just step by step on how you should save money. I tend to think those are not as personal, but this might have been confusing too, because I know what I'm saying, but I don't know if I'm communicating it properly. But basically, to wrap things up, all I'm saying is it really, because honestly, just a couple years ago, I was like feeling like, where's my money going? Why am I always broke and I am a working person? So honestly speaking, like it's really like my pay has not changed that much for me to be able to save that. Like the difference in the pay that I receive now and the amount of money I'm saving and how much I feel like I'm much better with my money and stuff, it's not that big of a difference. So I think it's mainly all about just sitting down and figuring your own finances out and being realistic with your budget and being realistic with your lifestyle while still saving. And then one thing that I also do, this is like is this app called Acorns, but I'm sure there's like another other apps equivalent to it, and basically you set up your account and they just like take the change out of your bank, and then so you don't even notice that it's going out, but it keeps saving your money. This morning before I started a video, just from letting the app do its thing and work in the background, I don't even notice money being taken out. But just from the app doing its thing, I think last time I checked, I was like close to 2,000, if not even 2,000. If I can insert what my balance is with them in here somewhere. But yeah, so just download the app Acorns and use that as well if you need any help. But like I said, I'm trying to make this as short as possible. But whatever you do, just all you need to take from this video is sit down, figure out where all your money is going, and then make a budget towards your make a realistic budget. Give yourself allowance for the month. Make sure you save towards something you love to do, whether it be travel or something, and then make sure to have enough money to put in your savings as well. Or you can start off with the year with trying to get rid of your debt and then move forward to these steps. All right, I hope this was helpful. Bye guys.